So I'm currently sat here on this chair because there's an empty space in my garage because my Cupra still isn't back to me. That's been a week now, and I expect it to be probably another week or so while they get the part in and then fit it. Now this is going to be an update on my Cupra Formentor current situation. So it went in the garage about a week ago now, and it was diagnosed again as the battery cooling pipes had a fault with the sensor as well. Now apparently the cooling pipes and the sensor are an integrated part, so if you replace one you have to replace the other. I haven't seen this sensor, I haven't seen the cooling pipes, but I've seen components before of a similar nature where it's a shame to replace everything, but it's just the way it is. So that is the actual issue with the Formentor. Now the problem is that I will argue until I'm blue in the face that this should be covered under a high voltage battery warranty. If the cooling system isn't working correctly, it means it can't regulate the battery temperature, which then in turn means the battery won't regulate properly either. So it won't be operating at optimal performance as well, and it won't be operating as the manufacturer stated. Now obviously this is only my experience, your experience may differ, but let's get into the numbers anyway of what actually happened with the Formentor, the sort of the journey in a way. So initially the dash warning light came on, we all know that from previous videos as well. Electric drive fault not working correctly, please visit workshop. So I contacted the workshop, I had to wait a long time for this to actually get booked in. So I got booked in, I didn't realise, and they didn't disclose this, that this garage in particular, Cupra authorised, was not a high voltage specialist. So even if they could diagnose it, they couldn't fix it. If you can diagnose it but you can't fix it, you have to be upfront with this, and they weren't. So I paid £125 for that diagnostic fee for basically just to be told, go and call another Cupra garage and get it booked in. 3 hours drive away. So then I called the next Cupra garage, got it booked in, 3 hours drive, train home, wasted an entire day basically getting this car to the garage and back. And then I had to pay another £125 diagnostic fee for, basically they found exactly the same. I don't see how they couldn't trust the Cupra garage before. Fair enough, they're not a high voltage specialist trained, but why should I get charged twice for a product that has only got me to a resolution of like one repair? So I have raised this with Cupra, and I will raise it further as well, because I believe I've been charged more than what I should have been just for the diagnosis. But that's not the issue. The issue then came when the Cupra garage came back to me and said, yes, high voltage pipes, battery cooling pipes need replacing, 8.5 hours labour, and there was no sort of price or anything like that. So I was like, oh yes, it's in warranty, thank goodness for that. So I rang them up and says, right, go ahead with the work if it's in warranty. And then they said, no, it's not in warranty, it's not covered on the component list. Now it could have been worse. I mean, the repair bill is a lot of money. I would like to get this resolved, get it back, get it sorted, and then I am personally going to sell it. Now I have a few people in the comments saying, why would you sell it after spending X amount of money on it? And that, to me, that's a completely fair argument, but I'm a high mileage user. I'm 20,000 miles, sometimes a little bit more per year. This Cupra's got almost 70,000 in 3.5 years. That's the sort of level what I'm at with the mileage. And the Formentor plug-in hybrid needs a service every 8.5 to 9,000 miles, and it's roughly about £230 a service, so it's not exactly cheap when you're doing it twice a year. And the rear brakes are starting to get a bit rusty because it's a hybrid. It doesn't really use its brakes too much. It relies more on regenerative braking, so the rear brakes really don't get used. We got a lot of salt on our roads in rural Scotland in the winter, so it gets chogged up with salt as well. And I do try to do a few good brakes every so often when I get in the car. The rear brakes have already been replaced once in the 3.5 years, and they're probably replacing again, and they were like £230 to £300 or something like that. Roll that into the next service intervals. It needs a DSG, it needs a brake fluid change, it needs air condition service, it needs probably a cam belt change in the next 2 years as well. The cam belt change is almost £1,000 on the 1.4 litre engine. So we're talking quite a lot of money, all in which rolls into the sort of depreciation of the car as well. And then if you're going, another year, I could be 90 plus K, and then you're really close to that 100,000 mile kind of barrier, what you're going to take another hit of depreciation on. The battery warranty is obviously no longer valid. And then, is anyone going to buy it then? You know, if it's sorted now, we've got new cooling pipes in it, that's it. You know, the next owner can take on the sort of the mechanical side of it, and then, you know, they may not do a lot of miles. They may only do 5,000 miles a year, which then you wouldn't need to do the DSG for another 10, 20,000 miles. So who knows? But anyway, this is how much I'm now charged with repairing the cooling pipes and the sensor. And that sum is £2,113.12. Around about £2,000. It's not horrendous, but it is a lot of money for a 3.5-year-old, less than 70,000 mile car. But it just adds insult to injury, considering how much I've had that car serviced at Cupra, thousands upon thousands of pounds over the last 3.5 years, servicing the car, meticulously maintaining it at our main dealership as well. Will I get another Cupra or VI product? Maybe, but I don't think I'll be getting another hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. I just think they're too complicated. Like I said, I stick with my guns. I'm going to go all EV or all ICE for the next car. I don't know what I want. There's nothing really takes my fancy, to be honest. I've had a look briefly and I don't know what I want. Something with road presence, but something cheaper to run, etc., etc. It all comes down into the sums, and the total cost of ownership for me is a big one, including depreciation, obviously. Now, this is a slight edit to this video. This video was supposed to be released a few weeks ago, but certain things have changed. Overall, it is still the same, but the actual cost of repair has changed. So I mentioned that I took it to one Cupra garage and then I had to take it to another Cupra garage. This led to 2 diagnostic fees, and I wasn't really happy with this, so I complained to both garages. I also complained to Cupra UK, official complaint, and basically said, why is this component not covered under battery warranty? And why have I been charged twice? And I've serviced the vehicle all the time at your dealerships. Why am I not getting any sort of goodwill gesture? So Cupra UK were not interested. The garage where the Cupra was getting repaired were not interested. Thankfully, my garage, who I used for the last 3.5 years, and like I said, spent countless thousands of pounds with them, they did agree to cover 70% of the parts only. So, I mean, this took it from £2,200 down to £1,509.07. Still a bit of a pill to swallow because it's not covered in the barter warranty, but I thought Cupra UK were interested. You would have to go down various other channels if you really wanted to challenge this. And currently the Cupra is away at the wheel refurbishment, getting 3 alloy wheels done. And obviously this is for selling the car. So like I said, a quick update to interrupt the original video, just to make sure all the facts are out there. And thankfully, the Cupra garage who I've used for so often have extended a goodwill gesture when things weren't covered under warranty. They didn't have to, but, you know, it's appreciated nonetheless. So drop in the comments below what your experience with this fault is. For me, I just want the sort of whole thing to be put to bed now. If anyone else has got Formentor, I wish you all the best, or any VI product. I genuinely do. I think they're still a really nice car to look at. I love the colour of mine, the drive of it, the technology, the etc. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. If anyone's still actually watching this video, please comment below if you still are watching this video, because, you know, I much appreciate people actually taking the time out to watch things like this unfold. And I try and give advice the best I can, but it is only my opinion. It's not any sort of legal or financial advice. So I'll see you next time, and hopefully this chair will be replaced with an actual car.